Thank you for tuning into Healantra podcast. Get ready for a dose of holistic wellness talks to help you achieve optimal health. Enjoy this episode. Hello and welcome to Healantra, your go-to destination for holistic wellness insights. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing a very special guest from France. She is a seasoned energy healer, life coach, and an expert in alternative therapies. Drawing from over 3 decades of experience in market research, her personal journey to well being ignited a passion for practices like yoga, meditation, and aromatherapy. With certifications in biomagnetism and energy healing, she's now dedicated in helping individuals towards their own path to inner balance and vitality. I'm very excited about today's conversation, where we will discuss how energy healing combined with essential oils, two of my favorite practices, will help in the treatment of stress and anxiety. I would like to welcome our guest, Nathalie Cabart. Thank you for being with us today, Natalie, and sharing your journey.
Thank you, Rasha, for the invitation. I'm so pleased to be here today and to share my experience on this.
Thank you so much. So, just to start, can you tell us in your own words how your journey led you to where you are today?
Well, I think you wrapped it up quite nicely. I think, like you said, I've been working in market research and marketing for more than 30 years. So a very kind of conventional, very classic, very Cartesian way and path to life. But alongside this, that kind of super professional path, I was also looking for something a little bit different. It actually started with probably my desire to embrace a more natural life, having more natural products in my life, whether it was for food and all for health. I have to say that when I was a kid, I was cured with homeopathy for like a few years. And so it probably left a mark in me about the power of plants and the power of nature. So at some point, I got curious about essential oils and I had a bit of time. So I decided to follow a training on aromatherapy to become myself a practitioner in aromatherapy for both therapeutic use, but also cosmetic use. So I do my own cosmetics from time to time. And from there, I actually went through different passes, which initially I thought were kind of totally disconnected. Like you said, I was interested in meditation. I started doing yoga, a lot of different things. And I did a lot of personal development programs. I have always been super interested in personal development. As a market researcher, I'm passionate about understanding humans, understanding how humans think and behave, and what drives their logics and their behaviors. So there was something about understanding us from the inside and also discovering the amazing ability of our brain, and not so much from the intellectual side, but more from the intuition and how much we can get from our brain if we kind of open our brain to more than what we are used to or but what we are trained to with our classic educational background. So all of these paths, I mean, suddenly came to drive me to do that training in biomagnetism, in energy healing. And really, to be honest, it kind of changed my life. All of this, initially, I thought I was doing it just for myself. It was just out of my curiosity. I was just interested with this. I was looking for my own well-being. And I was just like, oh, that's super exciting. Let's do that. Like a child that's very curious and I really likes to play with things. And yeah, I think with the time going and talking about this to some people, they say, well, but I want you to try your techniques on me here. I have some issues. I would like you to do something for me. And I was like, okay, that was not my plan initially, but let's consider it. And that's actually how I started into energy healing and aromatherapy. The life coaching, actually, I realized it whilst I was doing my sessions of energy healing and aromatherapy, because almost in every session, I was naturally asking a lot of questions about my clients, like, of course, why they were coming today, how they were feeling. And I was sharing a lot of what I felt also during the healing sessions. And that started a conversation. And because I'm a market researcher, I'm a facilitator of focus groups, a moderator of focus groups, I'm used to asking questions and talking. And so that was just very natural. And the client said, you know what? Your energy healing sessions are just great. The care, the session itself is fantastic, but the conversation is as valuable as the healing itself, the energy healing itself. And that's how I started realizing that I was actually more than just an energy healer, that there was this kind of life coaching aspect into me that I'm now currently developing. And I think my signature is how I combine essential oils in everything. Because, like I said, I started with essential oils and I love them. I use them personally for all sorts of things. I'm almost never sick, probably thanks to that and thanks to everything I do. But whenever I have something that doesn't really work properly, I will revert to my essential oils first. Of course, if that doesn't go well, I would go to the classic GPs. But I really love those oils. And I actually realized also that they have some energy in them. It's not just about their therapeutic aspect and benefits that I'm using them. It's also for their impact on your vibration and on your energy level. And so what I do is that in every session I'm doing, whether it is life coaching only and or energy healing, but most of the time I really mix the two together. Depending on what the person is coming for, depending on what I know about the person, about the issues that he or she is facing, I would choose a couple of essential oils that I would probably just diffuse in the air during the session, or that I would just rub on my hands and get close to the person, or that I would also suggest the person to use in between two sessions. And that for me has become my little signature about this introduction of essential oils into healing. And that's probably what is reflected in my the name of my activity, flower and flow. I love flowers. I have always loved flowers. You will always see a bouquet of flowers at home, probably at any time in the year. And flow is of course about the flow of energy. It's about the kind of the nice flow of life. It's about that smoothness and it's about this kind of interconnection. And that's how I think it all ties in for me, at least.
Thank you. That is such a beautiful, story, I would like to call it. And let me just say, the whole time you were talking, I just felt like I had a mirror of so many parts of my own life and my own journey, because I went through something, not something, I went through so many similarities like yours. And it's just like, I'm very, very excited to see where this conversation is going to go. So I also practice energy healing. I also love essential oils. I use a brand called doTERRA, and it's been part of my life and as well for the past few years. And I, like yourself, I believe that because I've been using it, it's helped me with the prevention, not just with the treatment of different conditions, but also the prevention. And I felt that since I started using them, I don't get as sick as I used to before. And absolutely right. I can, everything ties in together. Like you said, there is flow to all of these different practices. There is a connection to all of them, because in the end of the day, I believe the commonality is essential well being of the person and the holistic well being of the person. So it doesn't matter which angle you take in order to tackle that or to reach that goal. I think all of them in the end tie to a common goal and to a common, alignment, which is the well being and the wellness of the person. So it's a beautiful journey. Thank you for sharing that. And I would like us to go deeper into our conversation today. We're talking about stress and anxiety. And let's talk a little bit about your understanding of stress or anxiety in adults. And if you believe that there are some common misconceptions of how anxiety manifests in people, and in the different clients that you've had, if you can talk to us about that.
Yeah. I think, I mean, that's an amazing topic, stress and anxiety, because the more I do those energy healing sessions and the more clients I meet, the more I realize that a lot of people are suffering from some sort of anxiety. The difficulty, I think, with anxiety is that it can take all sorts of different forms, and some of them are more or less hidden. Some of them are obvious, like people are super nervous and they're super stressed and they are able to articulate it, to verbalize it. They would come to you, say, I never feel at peace, and I have my mind that keeps running and running and running, and my mental never gets some relaxation and some rest. So that's kind of the easy to detect anxiety. But I think there are many other forms, like people, for example, not feeling that they are enough. We both love Marisa Peer, I realize, and Marisa Peer is always about, okay, you are enough, you are enough. But a lot of people feel that they are not enough. And that in itself, it is a strong source of anxiety. Of course, some people may have been through more traumatic experiences in their past. I have a client who came to me. She's about 60 something, 60-year-old. She came to me and she was asking for a healing session, said, I feel anxious. So she knew and she could verbalize it. I did an energy healing session trying to rebalance the chakra. So really working on all of the different chakras, and obviously the root chakra was suffering, but I also felt a lot of pain or something really oppressing on the heart chakra. And once we discussed after the healing session, she said, yeah, that's funny that you mentioned that, because I haven't told you, but when I was 13, I lost my brother. He died from a motor car accident, and that kind of really traumatized me for the rest of my life. And we tied in, of course, the anxiety from there, and that was a good starting point to really establish a kind of a coaching and accompaniment for several weeks. But I mean, we could feel it. Sometimes it's just hidden and the person doesn't even relate things. She could make that link, but not everybody is able to do that. And a lot of people, I mean, when you just talk to them and see them, they look just nice and smiling, and everything seems flowing. But actually, inside, they're having some like stomach pain or belly pain, or just sometimes the legs. Because I mean, when you suffer from anxiety, one of the symptoms or manifestations of that, if I can say, is that you don't necessarily want to move ahead, or there's something that comes in your way. So you might have pain in the feet, you might have pain in the leg, because you're afraid of something. And basically, anxiety is all about fear, of course, and it's all about the fear of not being in control, not being in control, feeling vulnerable, feeling, I would say, powerless or helpless. And a lot of people are really like, they're telling themselves this story like, okay, I can't control this, I can't control this, I can't control this, or I wish I could control that. And the more they tell themselves this story, the more anxious they feel. So for me, that's the difficulty with anxiety is that it can really take all of those different forms. It's sometimes hard to identify, and most of us actually want to have some control in our lives, whatever happens. I mean, that's kind of a natural human thing. We are also living in societies where performance is very much valued. So you will have to show your kind of superpowers and show some strength and show that you are in control. I think this leads us to feeling not enough sometimes, because I mean, there's only an amount of things that you can control, and actually, once you realize that the only thing that you can control is yourself, then it lowers the pressure. And you realize that that's a way to let go. And a lot of people who suffer from anxiety, they just cannot let go, because they still hope, or they still see as their duty almost to be in control of the situation, or almost to be in control of other people's lives, sometimes their beloved ones, or their co-workers, or whatsoever. So that's a that's an amazing topic because I think a lot of us are suffering from it, but that's not an easy one, to be honest.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. And it's quite wide. I think there's, like you said, there's so many reasons and root causes for anxiety, and it manifests in different ways. So for some people, it could be emotional manifestations. For others, it could be, like you said, the pain in the legs or the feet. It could be physical manifestations. If you have somebody come to you, how do you manage and you realize they're not really aware of what's going on? The fact that they came to you, they know that there's something wrong, but if they cannot see beyond that, how is it that you can manage or ease the person into starting to see what is it exactly that's causing them to be in a state either of pain or in a state of emotionally they don't feel so well, and whatever it is, the reason that drove them to come to see you, how do you ease them into start becoming self-aware?
The first thing is that I would not necessarily phrase that they're suffering from anxiety because that word in itself can create anxiety. Like, oh my God, I have anxiety. Oh my God. So that makes me anxious. So I would try not to necessarily nail it. That's okay. This is what they're having. And, um, and yes, if we find the cause or the root of the anxiety, then we can work on it. But I would not necessarily try to go back to the root because I mean, the past is the past. So when we make that link and that connection, sometimes that helps, and that really helps my client, and that helps us actually in working together. But I'm really convinced that we do not necessarily have to go back to the past or go back to the root cause to be able to address it. What I would do, because a lot of anxiety is actually coming from our thoughts. We have thoughts and we have thinking, and the thinking of our thoughts is what creates anxiety. Because we're just overthinking and then we are projecting into something that, oh my God, what could happen? My client that I was talking about earlier, she knew that she was anxious because she was actually really was super difficult to live with her husband because every time the husband was leaving the house she was like, oh my God, it could happen something to you, or I mean, let me know when you arrive, or and she was feeling so anxious that it was super oppressing for him because she was trying to protect him from all sorts of things. um and again, of course, I mean, of course, that was helpful for us to understand that she had that loss of her brother early on, and that what she was fearing of was fearing another loss, obviously. So that helped us put some words into it, but that's not necessarily a mandatory, I think, to start the healing. And so, because all of that is about thinking, is about projecting potential scenarios that, oh, that could happen, that could go wrong. It's all about the mental thing. What I do is I will really try to bring people back into their body. Because when the body works, the mind is kind of relaxing a little bit and stops running and running like a little hamster, like a little mouse in its wheel. And so I will always go back to the body in also some ways. One of the easiest things to do is to walk. Because actually, when you put your feet grounded onto the ground and in the earth, ideally barefoot, you really connect back to the earth, to that energy of the earth. And when your feet are grounded, it allows the mind to relax and to let go a little bit of what's happening in there. Breath work is also super interesting because, again, when you breathe in and out, you reconnect with your body, you let go of a lot of things. And so I would train them very simple exercises that they can do in their daily lives to whenever they feel like, oh, I'm starting to have that anxiety, or I'm starting to have those pains in my belly, even if they don't know that it is anxiety. I would encourage them to, okay, go back to your body, focus on what's happening, focus on your breath, focus on your feet. Think of your feet, like, for example, now I'm talking to you, but I'm consciously putting some conscious into my feet, and that allows me to be, to be grounded. So it's a little thing that you can do as often as you like during the day, and that helps releasing a little bit of the mental super hyperactivity that is causing anxiety. And then, I mean, of course, what I would start doing would be rebalancing all of the energy through the chakras. And usually, when anxiety is here, it's all about the root chakra, the sacred chakra, to up to the solar plexus, so all of the below chakras that are usually like super blocked and super dense like that. Sometimes you can even feel that the energy is not going through very smoothly. So I will start rebalancing this, and sometimes we have to do that several times for several sessions until it really starts flowing and putting some energy back into the feet. And then what I would do when the person is really conscious that he or she is having some sort of beliefs or like scenarios, like I was saying, that every time my husband goes out of the house, I fear that something would happen. And then using some deprogramming and reprogramming techniques like rewiring the brain to really change the pattern from this is what I think that will happen or could happen to something else, to a pattern where they actually get control of themselves and no longer try to get control on something that they actually cannot control. So by reconnecting the person to his or her own power, like by making the person conscious that actually she has a lot of power, but that power is on her, then that she feels powerful. Then she no longer feels powerless. So okay, I mean, there's no way you can stop something to happen to your husband when he's not at home. Like if he doesn't look back and there's a car coming and he would be crashed, I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. Okay. And it's not your responsibility. And that's it. But of course, I wouldn't say it like that because that would be a little bit too direct. But that's the kind of message I'm trying to convey: is that there's only a certain amount of things that you can control, but start controlling yourself, controlling your breath, controlling. And it's not about controlling. Actually, it's just about getting more connected and aligned and conscious about what happens in you, about your emotions, about your physical reactions. And it's about even by the breath work, when you feel some pain, when you feel like some lack of breath, you just put your conscious there and suddenly you can, it releases. Even if it's a subtle release, you still realize that there's something you can do, and that is how you can shift the anxiety. But it takes time. I mean, especially for those people who have been suffering from anxiety for quite a long time. It takes time because there are a lot of things to deprogram and rewire, but progressively we manage to really make their life much better.
I like what you said about changing the narrative. So instead of saying control, we say we become more connected, more aligned with ourselves. And I think this is the basis for what we were talking about before, of becoming more self aware and going within. So instead of allowing all these energies to go somewhere where it's not serving us, where it's just depleting us, bringing back that energy to ourselves and just becoming more aware in those situations that where we feel it's going to trigger us in one way or another. What am I going to do? How am I going to react? Is to just, like you said, going back and understanding those tools, grounding, breathing, realigning, and then and then instead of being reactive but becoming more aware of what's my next step, what am I doing here, how am I feeling, what can I do to help the other person. So it's beautiful the way you put it, and thank you for sharing that. You have already explained a little bit of how you are integrating energy healing with using essential oils in your sessions, but let's talk more about that. So when you start a session with someone, do people come with a certain expectation? The session is going to go like this. We're going to have a talk first, and then we're going to practice some meditation. How does the session usually go?
Most of the people, when they come to me, especially when they come to me for the first time, they have no idea what will happen. They just know that they need some help, that they want to improve something about their life. And most of the time, they have no idea what energy healing is about and what these kind of sessions will how it will run, and what they will live through. So I first explain that indeed I start with some sort of conversation, and we do the proper energy healing session, and then we have some sort of debrief afterwards. And usually I would end up the session with giving them some advice so that they can prolong the effect of the session during the following days, either just to prolong the effect or for them to start changing, shifting very little things in their lives, but slowly reprogramming some things. Essential oils is not something that I necessarily promote as my first um, let's say expertise, skill of expertise. I do promote it in my Instagram, in my posts, etc. But when I do my energy healing session, it's really a lot about energy and coaching. But still, what I do is that once I have really nailed a little bit of the problem, the issue that the person is getting through, I will suggest and I will say, okay, I have some essential oils. I like to use some essential oils. I just, of course, check that there's nothing about her health condition that stops me from using those oils. But then I would say, okay, are you okay? And most of the time they say, yeah, okay. I mean, they don't even know. And I am just diffuse it, but I'm just select one or two max essential oils in relation to the topic. So, for example, the super, super easy one that really works for everybody is lavender. I mean, lavender, I mean, we know it's like almost the Swiss knife of the essential oils. And the good thing with lavender is that you take no risk in diffusing lavender because it's the essential oil that um, cause no harm or no side effect to the body. So you can really diffuse it with no worries at all. And that starts just creating kind of a nice, atmosphere, almost like when you go to a massage salon and you have this nice scents, etc. It just puts you in a nice me moment, and yeah, my moment, my relaxation moment. So they love it. And then once I have really identified a specific thing, like either a chakra that is blocked or, like we said, a specific issue, then I would select some essential oils. And for example, for anxiety, I would love to use patchouli. So patchouli is really something that works on the roots, on the chakra roots. And either I do this, or I could do that to the client. I could ask the client to just smell it like that. Or what I would do is that I would just drop one drop and then rub my hands. And at the moment when I finish the healing session, the person is still lying on the massage table. Before the person wakes up, if I can say that, I would just rub my hands and put my hands very close to the nose, like almost like in a cup like this, so that the person can really breathe in the essential oils and get all of the benefits of that. And again, here it's about the therapeutic aspect of the essential oils, but it's very much about the energetic vibration of the energy of the essential oils. Because I mean, why do I say energetic vibrations? Because every living being has some energy in itself, and plants have energy too. And because essential oils are actually so concentrated, so condensed, they actually um, encapsulate the energy of the plant. And some of these essential oils really have a super energetical power. There are a lot of books that you can find easily on the internet. I have one. I mean, she's a French author. She's called Lydia Bossel. But there are many books that actually talk about the energetical power of the essential oils, and I'm using that too. And to be honest, now that I've been using essential oils for many years, I also trust my intuition about how I feel about those essential oils. to pick the one that I think best matches the moment or the need of that. And then what I could do is that at the end of the session, if the person is actually interested in essential oils and familiar on how to use it, I would always check that they know all of the precautions that you should take when you use essential oils, etc. Then I could suggest a couple of essential oils that they could buy and that they could use at home. And it's just about that. It's just about taking your little bottle, just putting it underneath your nostrils a couple of times, and that's it. And just the smell kind of lifts your mood in a way or another, lifts your emotional mindset, and that's how it helps actually. So depending on yeah what the person is suffering from, I would recommend that. There's another one that I love, absolutely love. Not everybody likes it. It can be a bit of a hate or love thing. It's ylang ylang. I love it because it's actually working on the sacred chakra. It's not the root chakra, but the sacred chakra is also super important when it comes to stress and anxiety because it's the one that kind of liberates the positivity, the joy of life, the creativity, also the sexuality and the libido. But it's all about, opening up to the positive in life that could help, that could happen to you. And when you actually, for example, rub your belly with one drop of ylang ylang in a cream or in some body massage oil, and you rub your belly with that. Again, it reconnects you to your body again, which is super important for anxiety, and it helps considering life from a slightly different perspective, and it helps reconnecting to your inner power of creativity, of optimism, to your sense, to your passion of life. So this is also another one that I love recommending.
I love these oils, and I love the way that you said the energy of the oils, because I do believe that, let's say for you today, lavender was amazing, it helped you calm down, but maybe tomorrow you need something else. So, also, us, depending on the state that we're in, we connect differently with the oils, even with the food that we eat. So, sometimes that's why when we're craving something, our body's like, I feel like eating more fruit today. And maybe it is that you need certain vitamins that are in those fruits, or I'm craving oranges. It means your body needs that vitamin C that is in the oranges. So I believe that what you said is very important when we're dealing with food, when we're dealing with essential oils, as it is in our topic today, that yes, the energy is very important, and how it aligns with your current state, with your current energy today, is also very important. So this is amazing. And I wanted to ask you, can you explain to us a bit about what biomagnetism is and how it works?
So it just works. Biomagnetism is about using the, let's call it the universal energy and actually activating. Depending on the culture you live in, some people call it the Shi in Asia. Some people call it the prana in India and in all of the yoga things. I just call it the vital energy or the energy of life. And like I said, every living creature has some sort of energy within itself. So the biomagnetism is just about putting your awareness onto that energy that we all have. So what I do, for example, that's something that you can actually try doing now. You can rub your hands, and when you get your hands close to each other, you can almost feel a little bit of a tingling or something. If you put your conscious, and if you don't realize it now, it's okay because sometimes it takes a bit of time to get connected to that. But you can actually see that or feel it, and sometimes when you get your hands a bit further away from the other, you might almost feel almost of a elastic, almost of a gummy thing, like almost like a little string that gets more or less elastic between your two hands. This is energy. This is the magnetism, as in the physical aspect of magnetism that we all have in, right? So when you put your conscious into that energy, there's a lot of things you can do about that energy. The first thing you can do with biomagnetism is kind of heal yourself or soothe some of the pain you have. For example, you have a headache. You rub your hands, you put your hands on your head, and you focus with the intention that your headache is going away, or that you're maybe cleaning your mind with a good fresh air, or some water, or something cool, or whatever you feel you need at that moment. And you put that awareness, that focus on it. And that's how it works, actually. It's about connecting to your own energy. And what I do is, when I do those sessions, it's not my own energy that I'm using and I'm transferring. I'm I'm just a vector. I just channelize the energy. So I connect to the energy of I call it the universe. So there's nothing religious about this. It's spiritual, but there's nothing religious. I just call it the universe. I put that intention of being connected to the energy of the universe, and really putting that strong intention that the energy of the universe through me is actually reactivating the energy of the person, of the client. Because it's not my energy that is healing the client is healing himself or herself. But it's about reactivating that energy. And because, I mean, when you do, it of course takes a lot of time of like meditation and alignment exercise, etc., so that we can really let go all of your thoughts whilst you are doing that, and only like really just being that vector, that channel to the person. And when you do that, actually, you can feel sometimes, I feel some really a strong tingling, or even like scratching things in my hands, and that tells me, oh, there's something that is not quite balanced here in that part of the body, or in that part of the, or maybe in the mind, or sometimes I feel almost like the person is pushing my hands back, although I'm not touching the person. I'm always staying like that, but it's almost like I feel a pushback. I say, okay, there's some resistance here. We'll come back to that, and we'll see what we can do. At some point, with some movements, etc., you can rebalance and recreate a nice flow of energy, because most of the physical issues we have come from energy blockage, just energy that has been blocked in some part of our body. So either there's a lack of energy, or there's too much of energy that is concentrated in some part of the body, that could create inflammations, for example, or a lack of energy is when, like, I don't feel my hands, I have no strength in my hands, for example. That could be that. And most of those disbalance come from an emotional source. Pain, I mean, I haven't seen yet a pain that was not related to some sort of emotional shock, or disturbance, or something that happened that actually created some sort of tension in the body at some point. And that tension like builds on and builds on and builds on. And then that's what creates some sort of blockage. And then I have pain in my neck, or I have with my shoulders, or I have pain in my belly. So that's all about, washing it off a little bit and recreating that flow, by working on the energy. That favorite thing with biomagnetism, it's like Reiki, if you want, but Reiki is a very specific way of using the energy. It's been created in Japan, and it's very, I would say, codified in the way you do things. Biomagnetism is, it's just more intuitive. It's just more intentional. There's less of these codes. To me, it's not that different. To be honest, it's just on how you want, I mean, the kind of process you want to apply to use that energy, but it's about the same, really. And the magic of Reiki or biomagnetism is that it works even when you are not sitting or standing close to the person. Like, I mean, I'm in Paris, you're in Dubai, and actually, we could, at that exact moment, do some energy healing. I could do some energy healing onto you, or you could do it onto me. And that would work exactly the same as when we are like standing face to face, or next to the other. Just because the energy is something universal, and that now has been backed up with a lot of quantic physics experiences, etc., that have proven or given strong signs that actually we are all interconnected and that whatever happens here has some consequences at the other side of the earth. So that's the great thing as well, is that because I put some intention onto the person, the only condition, and that's really something that I'm very keen to make it super clear, is that the person has to ask for it, to want it, and to be in a mindset that she agrees to welcome to get something of it, because she is not ready. If she's not ready to receive the energy, that will not work. So you can never do, and I would never do some energy healing session onto someone that is not aware of it or that hasn't asked for it and that isn't really ready to receive it. That's the important thing, because I mean, like I said, it's not me healing the person, it's the person healing herself or himself. So the person has to be fully in her own power to be able to receive it.
Yes, I agree. I think the most important law is the law of free will. And without it, things will not flow, like you said, when we talk about energy. And also, something else that stood out from what you mentioned and what you shared is that the beauty about energy healing for me is that it's so self-empowering. It's not necessarily the practitioner that has the power, like people would probably misunderstand the practice, but it's more bringing that awareness and back into the person, into the client that's coming to you, and explaining to them and making them aware that you are the one in charge, you have the power, and then giving them the tools to self empower themselves and motivate themselves to get that strength again and to say, yes, I am in charge of myself. I can do this. I have the strength and I have the ability to get myself better, to heal myself, to grow to the next stage in my life. So that is such a beautiful gem.
There's one tool like that I like sharing with my clients, is the energetic shower. And whenever you feel tired or you feel like somebody has really been hard on you, or that you've gone through a very tough day and you feel that there's a lot of negative energy on you or a lot of negative thoughts in your head, either you actually go through your actual shower and really shower, and then whilst you shower, you visualize that the water is kind of washing off all of those negative thoughts or negative energy. But you can also do it even when you are not in your shower. I mean, even if you're in your car, or even if you're at work, I mean, sitting behind your desk and behind your computer, you just take a few minutes. Breathe in, breathe out, and just take the time to relax and pause and close your eyes. And then you imagine that there's a nice shower, or, a nice little rain, like the summer rain, the one that is really kind of, you like having it on yourself because it's refreshing, it's cooling, etc. And you really visualize or feel that shower is actually rinsing off all of the thoughts, all of the tiredness, all of the what really doesn't belong to you, what comes from all of the other persons or all of the environment around you, and you wash it off and you give it back to the earth. I mean, it just takes a few minutes, and after you've done that, you actually feel a bit refreshed and a bit lighter. So this is also one of the little tips I would give to my clients. And like you said, I mean, biomagnetism is not just about me being a practitioner and like me having the superpower to heal the others. No, it's not how I see my role and my mission. It's about me sharing and transmitting and teaching and really empowering everybody that is coming to me to actually be responsible for their own health and be responsible for their own well-being. So the more tools I can teach or share with them, the better, because my point is that not that they become dependent on me and they come to me every other week, because that just means that at the end of the day, I'm not helpful, and I definitely want to be helpful. And the best way to be helpful is to help people reconnect to their inner power and realize that everybody has in itself that possibility to ignite and to activate that biomagnetism. It's not a gift that I received from whatever God or something. We all have that possibility. Magnetism and life energy is something we all have. So we all have that possibility. It's just that some of us are more or less ready to welcome it, to receive it, and to work with it. And to get ready, I mean, you just have to open your mind to experience, to let it happen, even if you don't really believe it works, or even if you don't know exactly how it works. It's all about, okay, opening to the possibility that it may work. And then once you do that, you realize that, oh, actually, it does make a little bit of a difference. And even if you're not too sure if it's this or that, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you feel better. And that's really what matters to me.
Yes, that's so beautiful. Thank you for saying that. And I love this too about the energetic shower. Like you said, you can do it just by closing your eyes and visualizing. You can do it in the actual shower and just visualize all your worries being washed off and being sent back down to earth. I love this tool and thank you for sharing it. I mean, I loved the session today. I would like to go on and on and on. But for the sake of time, I would just like to say thank you so much for your wisdom and for sharing your time and your energy with us. And I'm very sure there's a lot of things that our listeners and our viewers are going to get away from this episode. So thank you so much, Natalie.
Thank you, Rasha. It was a real pleasure for me to share my passion and to share about my experience. And like you said, I feel that there is a very nice vibration between you and me. So I really loved that moment, and I hope it will be useful for some people and inspiring for some people, and what kind of take they can have on their own well-being and on their own power. Never forget that the power is in you, and that you can make your little light shine brighter.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode. We hope you found it insightful and you enjoyed it as much as we did creating it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Let's continue creating this amazing community of holistic wellness seekers and practitioners together. See you in the next one.